Welcome back to a new post today. What started as a social media movement against the rising inequality between the children of the government officials and the political circle and the lower middle class and the upper middle class started off into a movement which toppled the government of Nepal. This is called as the Gen Z Nepo Kids movement, which has now brought Nepal into a standstill where the Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, has resigned and there are talks of an interim government. Let me tell you, Nepal is a landlocked country and it is one of the least developed countries with 165th ranking in nominal GDP per capita according to the World Bank rankings. Nepal's GDP is very less. As of 2019, it's $34 billion. Nepal has been consistently ranked one of the poorest countries in the world, and it is also a member of the WTO. Apart from that, it has the 37th largest labor force in the world. Primary sector makes up a third of the GDP, with secondary sector only 14% and the tertiary sector 57. Major, a third and more of almost 47 of the GDP of the income of the Nepal comes from remittances, with many people especially immigrating to areas like India, Middle East, Malaysia, Singapore, etc. So what is the reason of this protest that now has taken Nepal into a turmoil where there are talks of interim government and also elections in the future? Let me tell you that this Gen Z movement started as a social media movement against the inequalities between the rising inequalities between the government officials, the political circles and the normal living people of Nepal. This sees rising inequalities because of corruption, unemployment and large-scale migration to different countries as well. KP Sharma Oli was forced to resign after the protest, and where now there is no government in Nepal and there are talks of interim government, with the former Chief Justice into talks where she was agreeing to hold the post of the Prime Minister. She is Sushila Karki, the former Chief Justice of Nepal, and there are talks of her being supported as the next Prime Minister, especially by the Gen Z as well. However, this will need elections to happen, and if she becomes the Prime Minister, she'll be the first woman Prime Minister of Nepal. Nepal was a constitutional monarchy and it became into a republic after 2008. However, since then, from 1990 till 2019, we have almost 30 prime ministers. There's been large-scale instability, political instability in Nepal, and frequent changing of the government, of the head of the government of Nepal. This has led to discontinuance in economic policy, governance discontinuance, and also leading to rising inequalities, especially unemployment and backwardness of the economy as well. There are large-scale differences between the rich and the poor, educated and the less educated, and especially the rural and the urban areas, where these differences are felt more among the younger generation. And these divides are, as I told you, as I've felt more among the younger generation, and this has led to what is called as the Gen Z Nepo Kids movement, which has toppled the government of Nepal. Let's look into some of the most shocking details about Nepal due to the reason which has actually caused this protest. Overall employment in Nepal as of 2022 and 23 stands at 12.5%. However, the unemployment among the younger generation, 15 to 24 years, is about 22.7%, and this is given by the official statistics of World Bank. Between 25 to 45, we see 7.5%. There is large-scale unemployment in the rural areas than in the urban areas. Inequality cuts across multiple dimensions, especially the poorest households face large-scale unemployment as against only 8.5% of the richest households. Education creates stark differences of unemployment, basic schooling and also bachelor's degrees holders are very less in the country. Apart from that, geography plays its force. Kathmandu Valley sees the lowest rate of unemployment, while the other areas see a very high rate, almost 20 to 25%. Critically, low labor force participation has been a feature of the poor, the rural and the less educated populations. Now these people do not participate in the labor force because there is no proper employment opportunities and also employment opportunities that suit their qualification as well. Much of the labor force in Nepal is unskilled. This creates a double disadvantage, that they are not able to find employment and they are also not willing to seek employment because they are not getting the suitable employment, and because because of lack of skills. This has pushed many, especially the disadvantaged group, to seek recourse to abroad as immigrants, and they are living outside the country for their families. This has led to increase in the female-headed households in the country, dramatically increasing from 13% in 1995 to almost 37% of the country's households are having female-headed households. Absenteeism is another stark reality of the rural youth in Nepal. About 20% of the rural population is absent from home, and this compared to Kathmandu is only 8%. More than half of the male of 15 to 29 years are facing unemployment, and therefore they go abroad to work for their families. The share of the households receiving the remittances because of this has increased from 23% in 1995 to 76% as of 2022. And among these households, remittances account for 33% of the total income. More significantly, remittances are originating outside Nepal. 20% comes from India, more than 50% comes from other countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, UAE. These are the most preferred destinations for Nepali workers. Apart from that, personal remittances have surged from 1% of Nepal's GDP to 33% in 2024, and this ranks Nepal as the fourth largest country in the world that is dependent on remittances. The statistics further say that the Nepalese youth have been fed up because of the above situation, who then took to streets to protest and therefore finally toppling the government. Nepal has achieved the world's highest level of political instability according to many reports of the world, becoming the fourth most remittance dependent economy, and the two facets are increasing inequality and rising unemployment, which has brought the citizens of Nepal onto the roads. Nepal is now into a political void where there is no prime minister in Nepal, and the government has come to a standstill. Meanwhile, there is the army has taken charge, and also they are supporting the former Chief Justice of Nepal, that is Sushila Karki, to be emerged as a political interim leader. This interim government will come into force to take forward the elections. Nepal Gen Z say that they want a young leader for themselves, along with the experienced in the Nepalese. And also they are supporting Balen Shah, who is the Kathmandu metropolitan city mayor, as the prime minister, as a prime minister candidate as well. However, Balen Shah supports Sushila Karki, and if she goes on to become the prime minister, she'll be the first woman prime minister of Nepal. So they are looking at changes in the leadership because of corruption, and mostly a leadership that represents the young population who understands their problem, the rising inequalities, unemployment, and will bring stability and better economic prospects in this landlocked country of Nepal, which is now plunged into a political turmoil on the grounds, and similarly to Bangladesh, our neighbor of India. So these were the most important points I thought I should be discussing with you to tell you why and what is the reason of this Gen Z protest of Nepal. But just before ending, what does Gen Z mean? So the people born between 1996 to 2010 are usually called the Gen Z. They are between the millennials and the younger generation, and they are mostly affected by digitization, financial instability, climate change and its impact and other problems, and rising economic turmoil that is facing the world after the COVID-19. So therefore, this Gen Z is now leading the protest, similar to the lines of Bangladesh. If you did like these points which I shared with you, don't forget to comment in the end, and do like, share and subscribe as well. I shall see you in my next post. Until then, it's very happy learning.